There are a lot of things that Naomi Campbell has been called over the years, like beautiful, stunning, successful, but the one she dislikes the most is difficult. Apple TV Plus recently released a documentary called The Supermodels, which includes an interview with Naomi Campbell, and in it she says it's hard to be an outspoken black woman. She also advocates for equal pay for women and talks about the rampant racism in the modeling industry. But what caused people to call Naomi difficult? And is there a trope of the angry, difficult black woman in the entertainment industry? Well, let's get into it. There's usually one word that comes to mind when it comes to Naomi Campbell, and to a lot of us it's either great, successful, or boss. But she says that many people also think of her as difficult. And in the Supermodels documentary, she reveals that she thinks she acquired that label due to racism in the industry. And that because she was an outspoken advocate for equal pay for women, she sort of got screwed out of years of work. On the series' third episode, Naomi says that she and other supermodels became phenoms, powerhouses of the industry, and did something that was unheard of at the time, took control of their careers. And because of that, they faced scrutiny and retaliation from powerful players in the modeling industry. It was hard to be an outspoken black woman, and I definitely got the cane for it many times. She also said that she quit the Ford modeling agency and started working with Elite. The founder, John Casablancas, went with her to a meeting with Revlon because they wanted to offer Campbell a contract. But when they told me what they wanted to pay me, I said no in front of the whole room. I said, I get paid that in Tokyo in one day. Why would I take that for a contract for a year? She also said that by that time, fellow supermodels had disclosed how much they were paid and told her not to take any less than that. But since she turned down Revlon's offer, she said, John got very embarrassed and then decided to call me difficult. And he then decided he was going to go to the press and say I was difficult and that he fired me. First of all, let's get this clear. Models cannot get fired. We're self-employed, sponsored by our agencies. She said of Casablancas, he was very undignified. He got very nasty, which I personally felt that it was just exploitation because he knows my name will be printed in the paper and it will be a big press thing for Elite. But I have nothing to say about him. I think his behavior was totally undignified. But what did he really say about Naomi? Well, I went digging and researched some excerpts from his 2016 documentary. Check this out.
Meanwhile, I had to continue dealing with the egos of my super divas, and Naomi Campbell wasn't the least of them. Naomi is a spectacular woman, explosive, intelligent, and talented, but with an uncontrollable temperament. We had hundreds of fights. Please be informed that we do not wish to represent Miss Naomi Campbell any longer. No amount of money or prestige could further justify the abuse that has been imposed on our staff and our clients. All those who have experienced this will understand. But, he also says, 2 years later, she was back with us. I must admit that I adore Naomi.
I know that was a lot, but it's important for you to understand what he said about her and how he trash-talked her and sent that letter out before she could even tell her side of things. Naomi said of this, that stigma of his words and his statement to the press messed my work up for many, many years. I've heard crazy, I've heard nightmare, I've heard difficult. I was called difficult because I opened my mouth, period. Casablancas died at the age of 70 in 2013. He was receiving treatments in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil for cancer. And it's interesting to note that other people in the industry don't have the same opinion of Campbell as he did. For instance, the former creative director for Christian Dior and famous designer John Galliano say that even though she sometimes made stringent demands, she was never wrong. I mean, Naomi would let me have it if she didn't like her dress. And if it meant I had to make one within 24 hours for the next day, I did. And you know the internet is talking about this reveal. Not invalidating what she's saying here, but notice the only time for certain celebs really stand in their blackness is when it's the time to garner sympathy from the black community, because this certainly isn't directed towards anyone else. The same celebs who get rich with firmly white circles and act like colors don't matter until it's time to pull a PR move. I think Naomi's a timeless beauty, but she literally assaulted her maid. She's aggressive, but people forget that when you're pretty and rich. Let any other black woman do that and LSA would have endless gutter snipe and ghettos flying around. When you start assaulting the help, women who are just trying to make an honest living, then making light of it while serving community service, I don't know, I'm just gonna feel less sorry for you. That's evil. Another person said, yeah, you're a real pleasure to work with, especially the person you threw a phone at. No, it's not because of your color. Tyra didn't get that reputation. Iman, Cynthia, Beverly, Alec, I don't fault her for demanding her industry worth, that's what you're supposed to do. But don't act like they would have tried to lowball anyone and everyone. They keep most models drugged up so they don't know the difference. Now, they make some good points. Naomi has definitely unleashed her share of ill will on the world, but she's not the only one to say she doesn't like being called difficult. J-Lo shares similar sentiments about the word. So maybe there really is something behind people in the industry labeling black women as difficult if they aren't easily controlled. However, Naomi knows she's got a short fuse and makes no real apologies for that. And that's good because she really has acted out a lot over the years. She told Barbara Walters during an interview in 2000 that she never wanted the nice girl label. "I find that a little boring," she said. I mean, I get what she's saying, but calling nice people boring? Rude. Naomi Campbell has actually been convicted of assault charges 4 times just between 1998 and 2009, the most famous being the phone incident. During her time in Toronto when she was shooting for the Prisoner of Love movie, she assaulted Georgina Galanis, her assistant. Calvin Berry, the prosecutor, stated that Naomi lunged at her, grabbed her by the throat, and shook her. Ms. Galanis fell to the sofa shaking and in tears. Galanis alleges that Campbell went into a fit of rage because they'd gotten delayed by customs at the airport in Canada, and so Campbell not only grabbed her by the throat, but also hit her over the head with her phone. That incident led Naomi to swear off working the catwalk because she said it stressed her out. No duh. If you're going around choking people and hitting them on the head with phones, you should probably reevaluate your life decisions. 2 more of Campbell's former assistants came forward and sued her for assault after that. In 2000, Vanessa Frisbee said Naomi attacked her during an argument they had. Naomi denied the allegations and went on to sue Frisbee for breach of contract. The case was dismissed. Then in 2004, Simone Craig said that Campbell actually held her hostage in a hotel room in LA and also threw a phone at her. This case was also dropped, but I'm starting to see a pattern with the phones. Then later in 2004, Millicent Burton, Campbell's housekeeper, said she punched and scratched her. In 2005, Campbell was accused of beating her assistant with her jewel-encrusted BlackBerry. Another phone incident happened in 2006 when her housekeeper Anna Scalavino said that Campbell threw a BlackBerry at her head, which resulted in Anna getting 4 stitches. Naomi got arraigned for second-degree assault that time. And that sort of behavior hasn't exactly calmed down. Sure, she's not lobbing phones at people anymore, that I know of, but she's still verbally violent with people. In 2014, she was a mentor on The Face, which was a modeling competition show. The group of models were trying to film an advertisement and trying to beat a strict deadline, but they really didn't do a good job of it, and Naomi started screaming and threatening them, as one does. She said, "I'm about to lose my mind, I'm going to kill you." The girls were so dumbfounded that they just sort of stood there looking at her, scared. One of them said, "If we make any more mistakes, her head is gonna fly off." And then Naomi sprawled herself on the floor and screeched, "Oh my God, I'm going to kill you." Threatening the lives of people you're mentoring doesn't exactly seem like the most easygoing to me. Then there's this clip where aspiring model Madeline is seen visibly crying, which she says is because she's in pain.
You crying?
Yeah, my foot is sore. These are too small.
What are you gonna do? You gonna cry? Are you in front of all the press? I'm
gonna try not to cry.
Or are you gonna say, "I'm gonna look my best, I'm gonna take this pain, I'm gonna get the picture with the best dress at the end of the show"?
Yeah.
Do you wanna be the face?
Maybe there's something about this that I'm just not getting. I get that back in Campbell's day, the industry was pretty barbaric and she probably had to do a lot of things that actually physically hurt. And I have no doubt that models today endure a great deal of pain too. But if a pair of shoes is so ill-fitting on a model that they're standing there crying, it seems like Naomi should have more compassion for her than that. Some people don't have high pain tolerances, and maybe she's been wearing these busted shoes for hours and just couldn't take it anymore. Everyone has their breaking points, and maybe Madeline just endured too much that day. Here's what people have to say about Naomi's difficult label. "I thought it was because you crazy AF and be throwing shit at people." Wasn't Naomi hitting maids upside the head with cell phones? One person said, "Wow, I hadn't heard of any of her story from her point of view. Crazy that they tried to lowball one of the very best that ever did it. Glad she stood up for herself, and I'm shocked that she lost work for years because she knew her worth and what they were actually paying." Well, now it's your turn to voice your thoughts on this. Was Naomi Campbell the victim of the racist industry giving her the difficult stereotype? Or is maybe her history of being violent to blame for some of it? Let me know what you think in the comments, and that's it for this video. Catch you in the next one.